Very nice of you. God bless you. The Gemara says we are on page 63, in number 1. Says Rav Ovadia, is it permissible? Get yourself the pamphlets. They're over there on the boxes inside, under the table. Is it permissible to tie the lulav with a double knot on Yom Tov? So we've been speaking about double knot, and we said that the restriction of double knot, Dave, you remember when is it applicable? Only whenever? More than 7 days. Now what if a person comes to you on Shabbat, on Yom Tov, and he's telling you, I'm sorry I didn't tie my lulav, Hadas, Arava, Shkunav, Rabbi John.
I saw it.
Huh?
Years ago, they were tying it. I knew.
Yeah? Allowed or no? So says the halacha, it is a mitzvah to bind the lulav before Yom Tov.
She can do it on Yom Tov?
Before, that's right, before Yom Tov. But on Yom Tov itself, one is only allowed to bind it, to tie it, maybe I should say, by Bechor? איפה אתה?
Союз делали так, в Германии делали так, а евреи говорят вот так. Я вас услышал, там чай, мать.
Only allowed to tie it with a simple knot or with a vegetable tie. With a קשר של ירק. קשר של ירק. What is קשר של ירק means, Meir? Yaakov? Tying of a vegetable. How people used to tie, even today, how people sell petrushka, cilantro, how people sell,
They tie it underneath it.
They tie on the bottom for it not to choke.
Right.
They tie it and they go one time inside.
Right.
It's not tight, but it's somewhat together. For holding, yeah. Shel yerek. Yerek. Oh, here. I knew he's gonna come. Israel of Kol HaKavod. 2 for 2. Chavod, front seat, Israel, not in the back. So now he says, Kesher shel yarak, shel yerek it's called. It's a certain knot that used to tie greens. Single knot. Meaning as a single tie that was common to tie cilantro. How do you spell it? Let me tell this guy. Cilantro. You don't need to know anything today. You just talk to them. Or other leaves. Together. Okay? So now, says Rav Ovadia Yosef, a person not allowed to make a double knot on Shabbat if he's going to keep it for more than a week. More than a week, mumkines. Nachon? Asu. That's what we learn. So what if a person comes to you, Yoshua John, and he says, Rabbi, right now Sukkot is coming, Rabotai. Ha Megid, Tammuz. Be Megid, Elul. Tammuz Av Elul. Elul comes, Selichot finishes, Rosh Hashanah. Time flies by. Rosh Hashanah, Tamam Meshos Sukkot. Like 2 days ago we said in Sukkot. Ujo Sukkot on Sode. You guys realize how time flew by? Thursday, Friday, Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. 1 month from there, Av. 1 month from there, Elul. So, Pirit Chodo, Pish Chodo, Odamot Shimegon, Rabotai. Yoshua, what a person is going to say in front of Hashem? We have to make sure to increase the Torah studies, Rabotai, not to miss. Amen. Amen. Now you learned. When you have say רפואה שלמה, has to be בכלל עמך בית ישראל, all עם ישראל included. So now, Rabbi Yosef says, a person comes to his Sukkot, says, Rabbi, I didn't tie my lulav with the etrog, what's his name, with the adasim and the arava. Now, what's the right way to tie? Always double knot. Yaakov, you know the people that make this ring and the pool, it's not the right thing. Ta'ashipka. People don't know that. They think it's nice, thick, ribbon. You saw this ribbon goes around like this with a ring?
Knot is gonna cut the.
No, so you make a double knot tight to itself, but not tight on the leaves. You understand? You leave the
It's
first
not
one
on
a
the
little bit
leaves, it's
space,
gonna
and
be
then
loose.
the second one you make tight on the second
Then the
one.
loop is gonna fall.
No, it's not gonna fall. Every year I do it. You do it good enough, not very tight. Every year I do it. And all the people that make, 3 knots or 18 knots or 21 knots that they make, all of them has to be double knot. Rings not counted as a knot. Bechor bagoit b'adkash. Sometimes people do this ring. It's not the right thing to do according to Rabbi Yosef. And the funny part is that the Hatam Sofer Ashkenazi says it's not the right thing to do, and many people do that from their people. They don't know that. The Hatam Sofer doesn't say that.
I thought tying is.
It says this. It's a karov katorostar pabakam. You know this kushkilich, kishkalach, whatever you call this. The tubes that they make. They said that's not the right thing to do
Why they say mezonot?
because it's not tight. Oh, kushkilich Bukharski.
Ah,
Mezonot.
what do you mean tight?
The tube of the lulav.
That's
Jonah
right,
Bazan
yeah.
Yaakov.
That's right.
הכל קושקליך תגרש.
You said it.
אתה כאן נראה נזבה תראו.
Yeah, that's a-
קושקלך, whatever you call it. It's like a tube that they make from the lulav
right,
thing.
and then they tie it.
Nah?
Go around it and they tie it.
That's the problem because then they're not next to each other.
Right. Not only that,
Okay.
also because they don't make a double knot. You're supposed to make the everything together, double knot.
Why double knot is so important for the?
That's the mitzvah of tying it together. Gemara says in Masechet Sukkah, I believe page 11. Bring Masechet Sukkah, show him.
As long as it's attached to it. Next
Gemara
to
says,
each other.
Gezerah Shallah, we're learning it from Agudat Ezov. Ma le'alan Eged, Afkan Eged. Over there, further down. Masechet Sukkah. Nisota Sukkah. In English, for Amir John to read.
It's okay, I'm not gonna read.
Why not gonna read? Amir, why not gonna read?
I'm still thinking of the previous.
So, Habibi, that's Torah. Torah has no end.
Yom Tov also?
Yeah. The Gemara Masechet Megillah, Daf Zayin Amud Bet tells us no difference between Shabbat and Yom Tov. Besides, Ochel Nefesh, only food, things that you eat. Yom Tov is different. Alulav, you're not eating. Adas, Arava, you're not eating. So therefore, the laws of it applies the same. Tying on Shabbat, tying on Yom Tov, on both cases, munkines, not allowed. Double knot.
We cannot tie this in.
So now, question is, what about this?
And so does it count as a Oman? Basically?
Double what?
No, the sukkah. The lulav.
The tube that they make? The
lulav.
tube?
The lulav, the ring, is what you say.
They make the rings that they make like a tube? Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
But they don't do with that. They make double knot regular.
Yeah.
Here.
So we cannot tie them together on Yom Tov, first day of Yom Tov, Sukkot.
That's the question.
But isn't Shabbat more
Here.
strict than Yom
Yud
Tov?
Aleph, Amud Bet.
It's okay.
Here. Read Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Shtai. John, Igor, come, read. Igor, come, read. Says the Gemara. Read in English, out loud.
If we agree that the lulav requires bundling, then no one would dispute that we derive the law of lulav from the law of sukkah, and the lulav bundle must be valid when made. But here it is in the matter that they disagree. You agree?
Yeah.
Our master, Rabbi Shimon bar Yehotzadak, maintains that the lulav requires bundling,
Lulav requires bundling.
while the Chachamim maintain that it does not.
That's
require
not, means to say it's not ma'akev, it's not pasul. Person didn't tie together. Pasul? No. Chachamim say kasher. Rabbi Shimon bar Yehotzadak says pasul. Must be tied. Chachamim say no. if you tie it, it's a second mitzvah you get. Mitzvah, the nice one. Ze eli ve'anveu, beautiful mitzvah. Deoraita. Rabbanan said you make mitzvah beautiful. Ze eli ve'anveu. Rabbanan hold. Rabbi Shimon ben Sadak says no. Sorry, he says if you don't tie it, pasul. Continue.
And these
Where do we know it from?
These Ta'anaim disagree in the dispute of these other Ta'anaim.
Rabbi Yehuda versus Chachamim.
It's another Braita.
Yes.
Okay. For it was taught in a Braita, the lulav and its related species, whether they are bundled or not, they are valid. Rabbi Yehuda says when bundled together they are valid, but when not bundled they are invalid.
נתנאל ג'ו. בלילה הוא נדדה שנת המלך.
What is Rabbi Yehuda's reasoning? He
Listen.
derives the case of lulav
גזירה שווה from אגודת אזור.
taking from the case of the bundle of Ezol.
נאמר שם ולקחתם אגודת אזור. When Hashem said put the blood on the doorpost. How do you take the blood of the korban Pesach and you put on the doorpost? With a brush? With a broom? What do you do it with? So God says אגודת אזור. Bundling of Ezov. Ezov it I say in English? I don't know I say in English.
Hyssop.
No.
Hyssop.
Grass.
Yeah. Hyssop. אזוב называется. Hyssop. נאמר שם אגודת אזוב, ונאמר ולקחתם לכם. In the lulav it says ולקחתם לכם. So wow, over there it says לקיחה. Read.
Okay, and it's written there regarding the Pesach service, and you shall take a bundle of Ezov.
מסכת מגילה, תביא בינתיים.
And it is written here
זין עמוד ב',
regarding the
תפתח,
lulav,
באנגלית.
and you shall take for yourselves on the first day a palm branch. Just as there, the taking must be in a bundle, so too here it must be in a bundle.
That's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. חכמים say.
We maintain that we do not derive taking from taking.
Right. Rather, why we bundling it? למצווה ודעתי. Read.
Whose opinion is reflected in the following Braita? Concerning the lulav, it is a mitzvah to bundle it with the other species. But even if one did not bundle, it is valid.
Who is that? Gemara says.
If it is Rabbi Yehuda, then the case where one did
Megillah.
not bundle it, why is it valid? And if it is that the Chachamim, why is there a mitzvah to bundle at all? Actually, it is in accordance with the Chachamim. And there is a mitzvah
Chachamim
to
agreed
bundle.
there is a mitzvah to do, but if you didn't do Aaron John,
Beautify for
it's
yourself.
only there for beautify the mitzvah. תפתח, מסכת מגילה, זין עמוד ב'. Got it? So what do we got? What the Gemara told us? That Chachamim hold it's proper to tie the lulav together. Proper. If you didn't tie it, pasul? No, kasher. You just didn't make the best mitzvah.
Long story short, can we tie them on Yom Tov?
So that's the question. So we learn so far if I gotta make double knot, and for how long you gonna tie the lulav for?
1 week. 7 days.
For 7 days.
More.
In America, even for 9 days at least.
What if you choose not to? You did it before.
Huh?
You have Zion or
You can
Zion?
take it off before.
זין עמוד ב'. מה אתה אומר?
What if you didn't take it off before 7 days?
Oh,
You cannot. This is a muktzah.
no, חול המועד he wants to say. On חול המועד I'm gonna untie it.
Can you?
That's the question he's asking. You're allowed to untie on חול המועד. מצאת המשנה. Read. זין עמוד ב', there's a משנה here. 7b, read. אין בין יום טוב לשבת, אלא אוכל נפש בלבד. ראית או לא? באמצע, in the middle. פה. אין, שתיים. אין בין יום טוב לשבת, אלא אוכל נפש בלבד. What's the only difference we have between Shabbat and Yom Tov? אוכל נפש. Food. On Yom Tov, you're allowed to make things for food. On Shabbat, you're not allowed to. What about tying? Tying, it has to do with food? No. So therefore, Shabbat laws of tying, Yom Tov laws of tying are equal. Right? Very good.
So you could do it?
That's the shortest Mishnah in Shas. Remember this page. 7b in Masechet Megillah. Only 8 words over there. En ben Yom Tov leShabbat, ela ochel nefesh bilvad. Not much. Not very long. Half a daf there. Half a page. Дай, подвинь чуть-чуть, чтобы... Всегда налево бери.
Так.
pure?
When there was one time, Yaakov, somebody drove me one time. He said, Rabbi, where should I turn? I said, Naleva. That's the only time I allow you Naleva.
The only time.
The only time I allow you Naleva. בכל ומביאו. ברשות מוריי ורבותיי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. Very good. So Gemara says you're not allowed to do that, Yaakov. Why not? Because you're making a double knot for a long time. I'm answering you. On Yom Tov, not allowed to make a double knot. Why? Because you're going to keep it for 1 week, more than 1 week. What?
True.
Because of that, they didn't allow it.
Let's repeat this one more time.
On Yom Tov, we're not allowed to make a knot, double knot, that is going to be more than a week.
But that's already we said it's allowed.
What allowed? Gemara says that we just opened for you the Gemara that Chachamim said you're supposed to tie it. When? Before Yom Tov. To make the mitzvah beautiful. Rabbi Yehuda holds if you didn't tie it's pasul. Chachamim said it's not pasul, it's just not beautiful.
Before the holiday.
Right. Now a person comes to you on the holiday, says, Rabbi John, please tie it for me. I don't know nothing about nothing.
So then you do the loops. You don't do the double.
Right. So there says the Shulchan Aruch, you're not allowed to tie it double knot. Bechor, why not? Because it's going to stay for 1 week. Staying double knot for 1 week,
So
problem.
then do the loops.
So then you're gonna do the loops. So far so good? David, you with us? Very good. Yoshua, you with us?
Yeah.
Hey, Yoshua was a student of Moshe Rabbeinu. What do you know? Okay, number 2.
But we are.
You're not allowed to. You mean if you untie it? Hold it. We're gonna learn it. 63. Oh, he asked us. 63. Does its binding constitute the fixing of a vessel restriction? The restriction of metaken mana restaurant. Restriction of metaken mana. And why? Aaron, if I tie double knot, the lulav, adasim, aravot, I tie it together. Double knot. If you make a ring, it's not good. You're supposed to make a double knot. With a pom nisida. We already learned it one time.
Yeah.
Tying it on Yom Tov, it's fixing the lulav.
No.
Says Rav Ovadia, its binding does not constitute the fixing of a vessel. Why not? Because what if a person didn't tie? He comes kaneso, he didn't tie it. He comes, makes the mitzvah, bracha, everything is separated. The hadas, the aravot, the lulav, everything is separate in his hand. He's holding it together, but he's not tying it together. Is this mitzvah kasher or pasul? Kasher. People don't know that. People think if it's not tied, it's pasul. By halakha, it's not true.
Because your hands is tying it.
Huh?
Because your fingers are tying it.
Yeah, your hands putting it together.
No.
No,
That's
it's
not the answer. Because
What's
to
the-
tie it is just to make the best
Best,
mitzvah.
right. But what's the
Morning, what's the best time to pray shacharit? Nates. If you didn't pray nates, it's pasul?
No.
No. You have the best, and you have the second best.
Right.
Lulav, you have the best is when it's tied, double knots. And if it's not, it's second best. It's not pasul. So when do we say the concept of fixing a vessel, metaken mana? Only when something was not good, and you made it good. But whenever there was no problem of not good, it was just not the best.
Yeah.
So if I fix it and I made it the best, I didn't fix a broken vessel. Therefore, there is no restriction of metaken mana. The only question of fixing a vessel, the only question is not kosher. of tying it together.
As long as they're standing next to each other,
Yeah?
touching each other.
Even if they're not touching.
Even if they're
Even if they're not touching.
So then why Ashkenazim that they put in the vessel is not kosher?
It's not kosher, it's not the best. It's second best.
So that's also kosher?
It's kosher. Gemara says more than that. Bechor, what if a person takes lulav, picks it up, puts it down? Picks up hadas, puts it down. Picks up aravot, puts it down. Pick up the etrog, put it down. Fulfill the mitzvah or no?
Yes.
Fulfill the mitzvah.
Still possible.
That's why it says the poskim is not the best thing, Bechor, to have all the three adas, arava, lulav together, and etrog flipped. After bracha, you flip it opposite. It's not the best thing to do.
you
Why?
put it down.
Because how many parts this mitzvah has? 4. When you pick up the lulav the right way, what you just did? Already 3 parts of the mitzvah you fulfilled.
So how do you?
So what do you say bracha then? On one part of the mitzvah of the etrog that you flipped it. Majority you did mitzvah without bracha.
So how do you bypass all this? How do you do
So
it?
that's there's 2 solutions.
One,
One, you have kavanah not to fulfill the mitzvah when you pick up the lulav upright. And second one is like I told you last year, everybody hold it. Remember, in our hands we hold it in the sukkah together on the table. When the lulav is laying down, this pasul way. After you said beracha, you pick it up straight. Now it becomes kasher way. Everything, the tog, lulav, everything
But
laying down.
Because you're not picking it up yet.
Because once it's laying down, it's not fulfilled the mitzvah. The Gemara tells us where do we know it from? From the pasuk it says, "Atse shitim omedim." Remember that song? Limudei Hashem em lomdim Baruch Hai. It's pasuk. Atse shitim omdim. It's supposed to be
up.
standing. The way it grows. How the lulav grows? So if you hold it like that, it's not the way it grows. That's why people that they go hodu
Pasul.
Zamest avotak, they go like this.
Right. You go.
You just made mitzvah pasul. Understood the
Then
mistake or no?
But tying it up, we take all of
Give
the
me a stick.
halachot.
Where is the stick? Give me the book. I'll demonstrate on this. Here, lulav is supposed to be holding like this, right? Upwards. When you go, you're supposed to go like this.
But if you go up-
Hodu. Whenever you're going up, go like this. Always up. And when some people don't know what they do, hodu.
They point to that.
They make it lay down. The Gemara says Masechet Sukkah on page Lamed Chet that the going proper ways with this pokes the prosecution eyes that they should not look at your mistakes and report it.
Don't poke your friend's eyes.
That's why if a person does it the right way, he gets protection bechor all ear.
Long.
Prosecutors' eyes, kofti, netu. They cannot see your mistakes. If you are going like this, you didn't poke their eyes because you didn't pick it up the right way. You picked it up in the pasul way. It's like you understand. That's not a joke. Everything we do in the Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, every single holiday that we do, all these details, such a tremendous help for our futures, future year, future month, future week. That's very important to know every detail. Ham to abolish nashava bechol. Tekash, with all the details.
What?
Mitzvot.
You have a boy tie the lulav.
So if it's a mitzvah to tie, can a goy that is not obligated in mitzvot fulfill it?
How about his question? If you know that your arava is gonna go black and you must change it within 4 or 5 days, can
Yeah.
you still double knot it on Yom Tov?
Oh, we're gonna get there.
Like every 7 days?
I don't want to answer it right now and ruin it. Let's see. David, read further. Yeah.
Is it permissible?
Oh no, we didn't finish number 2. I'm sorry. Finish it off.
Its binding does not constitute the fixing of a vessel, as we rule according to the rabbis who say that a binding is not necessary, only preferable for the mitzvah.
Is the word necessary is the right word, or it's not mandatory, or it's not necessary?
Not required, not necessary.
Yeah, not necessary. Okay.
Style.
Sukkah 11b, right? It was. Very good. Continue.
Is it permissible to tie for the purpose of measuring a mikvah?
Yeah.
Is it permissible to tie on Shabbat? On Shabbat, small small ropes. How do you call this? Small,
Tying ropes.
not small what?
Nuts.
Pieces of strings. Short, not small. Short strings. Okay.
A knot that is prohibited rabbinically is permitted for measuring the mikvah, but not for the lulav, as this is not a complete mitzvah.
Now you guys all should have asked. Oh,
Oh,
Adam John, you look very good. בלי עין הרע.
Adam הראשון.
רבותיי, don't make עין הרע on אדם. אתה פתאום נחש טוב נפרשו.
49 days. Omer is finished.
Now, Adam, listen to this. We learned right now with Bechor, even though he was eating manti, that a person is not allowed to tie the lulav on Shabbat, double knot, asur. On Yom Tov, sorry. Shabbat symboli asur. It's muktzah all together. On Yom Tov, you're not allowed to. Good? So says right now Bechor, Rabbi, why is that not allowed to? Didn't we learn that you're allowed to take small strings, make a double knot, in order to measure the mikveh? A person went with his wife, vacation. He checked online, they said there is Chabad house, there is all religious accommodations in place. He came over there, Bechor, ni religious, ni accommodations.
Nothing.
They have some old mikveh over there, Abomom Mondegi. Who knows what is mikveh? You want to measure it. This is the night that your wife's supposed to go, and you will make the mitzvah with her. Now you don't know if this mikveh is small, it's pasul. She cannot dip there. Tchum Baruch HaNemesh Bechor. Prostatak. You have to go. You have to make sure she dips in a kosher mikveh. Now you don't know if this mikveh kasher. What do? You want to measure it. You want to take small strings, make one long one, and measure it. Rosh Shabbat, can you do that or no?
Yes.
Why are you allowed to, Bechor?
You just measure it. You do nothing else.
Double knot. You're making a tie.
No, double knot is for mitzvah.
Double knot for mitzvah. Monkey.
Yes.
Says Avadia said, then why you said lulav double tie? No, this is not allowed. Why not? What am I doing it? What, I'm making it to beat up my neighbor with that? I'm making it for a mitzvah.
Yes.
No, that
You don't have to.
there are two
You can
issues
do the
here.
mitzvah without it.
Huh?
You
You
don't
can
have
do
to.
the mitzvah without
Very
it.
good. Says Avadia, if you're not going to measure this mikveh, can your wife dip over there if she doesn't know it's kosher?
No.
No. It's a vital part. Without this, pasul.
Yes.
Alulav, if this alen, according to Bechor's terminologies, came to Kaneso without tying the lulav,
Yes.
can he fulfill the mitzvah, pick up the lulav, pick up the adas, pick up arava, pick up ochemo? Can he do that or no? No problem. He can pick up separate things and make the mitzvah. So since it's not mandatory, obligated to tie it, it's not considered to be a mitzvah. That's why you're not allowed to tie it on Shabbat, double knot, on Yom Tov. Got it? Look how beautiful the halachot rabotai is.
Next.
Why abracha achona chondet? Next megid. You sure?
On Shabbat, can you measure?
Huh?
Can you measure on Shabbat?
Measure, yeah. For sake of
Mitzvah.
mitzvah. Was one time Bechor, a person that had lo alenu obesity. How do you call this thing? Very, very fat.
Obesity. Yeah.
Balnoi, baleiton. The doctor told him you gotta be on the diet. You're not healthy. You have to watch every day your weight. You come Shabbat, he comes to Rabbi John, what am I gonna do Shabbat? I said, is it life risk? He said, no, but it's for my health. I'm not gonna die if I'm not gonna measure on Shabbat the weight. He wants to go on the weight and measure. See how much he weighs. Is he allowed to do this on Shabbat, Bechor?
In his case,
Not electronic. Regular Etsy. How you call it? The mechanical.
yeah,
Okay.
mechanical.
Can you do that on Shabbat?
Yeah.
Can you measure on Shabbat? I wanna right now find out how heavy this plastic is. Put it on the scale on Shabbat. Manual, mechanical,
No.
need digital.
For what? So you will measure for what?
What we learned? Remember when was Pesach? I told you everybody get yourself manual scales. Put matzah over there, put maror over there, on Yom Tov. And don't make your small bags like Bechor asked, remember? Put it, complete matzot, break it on the holiday, and put it on the scale. Why? Measuring. Shabbat, not allowed to measure. Yom Tov, not allowed to measure. For sake of mitzvah, to know what's kazait, what's more than kazait, right?
If you already prepared kazait, what's the big deal?
It's not a big deal. You missed out the mitzvah of complete matzot.
No, complete matzot, you put it one matzot.
What did we learn before? You're supposed to have chokhmah, bina, dan. Remember the 3 matzot are the upper 3 sfirot. And then you have the 6 things on the bottom of the plate is the 6 lower sfirot, and the plate is the 7 sefirah malchut. If you're eating from the bags, it's not part of the 10 sfirot. It's part of the bags. That's it's kasher out of the box with the bags, but it's not the best. Also, you have a mitzvah of lechem mishneh. You're supposed to say hamotzi and alachilat matzah and complete matzot. In the bags already broken matzot. That's it's not the best. It's kasher, but it's not the best. Famideh yoneh. Very good. He says if so. Now question is. Oh, you threw me off with this matzot. What do you want to say? Measuring. This guy asked me, can I measure or no? Rosh Shabbat. I told him, is there a mitzvah to watch for your health? He's not gonna die. No life risk. Just watch for health. It's a mitzvah or no?
Yes.
So according to Torah Bechor, it's a mitzvah to worry about your health, to watch for your health, that everything will be normal and healthy for you. That's why if a person needs to measure for a mitzvah, like matzah, like maror, he's also allowed to measure himself if he needs it for purpose of health. Every day he has to watch. I don't know, the doctor told him every day you have to go on the scale. Shabbat, is he allowed to do that or no?
Yes.
Yes. Why? He's not doing it just to see how strong muscles he got. What is he doing it for? For health purpose. Health purpose. For sake of a mitzvah. Sake of mitzvah. Allah.
It's not mitzvah. Health is not mitzvah.
So according to our Torah, health is for the sake of a mitzvah. Gemara says there was one time before, one rabbi sees his friend on the street. He said, listen, why didn't you go to the class today? Hey, this rabbi doesn't teach us anything Torah. All the time talks about health. He says, what? He's talking about health and you say he didn't teach you Torah? He taught you was one of the most important part of the Torah.
Gemara.
Gemara. Shabbat. So what do we learn from here? That learning about health is one of the most important parts of the Torah. So now this guy is measuring his body for what purpose? He doesn't want to see how much muscles he has. From 20 pounds of muscles to 30 pounds of muscles. This is only food for the worms to eat him on the grave. Not going to give him anything. He goes up on the scale because he's on a diet. He has to watch every day what he's eating in order not to increase his weight, not to harm his health. Allowed or no? Allowed. Because it's not digital.
This whole thing doesn't make any sense.
Oh, finally. Yes, Adam.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Weighing himself is not essential to keep his health. He has to maybe watch his calories.
No. He has to make sure what's his weight, that he should not, chas v'shalom, increase on the weight. That's what the doctor told him. I'm not the doctor, Rabotai. I'm here to give the ruling after the doctor.
Okay, so the second thing with this mindset, then there's no end.
Tell us, why no end?
A woman can say to herself, it's a mitzvah to have kids, let's say for my husband. I can test myself if I'm pregnant on Shabbat, for example.
How she's going to, what do you have to do with measuring? And how she wants to test also?
There's
Manual
I'm
test?
saying that there's no end to this idea. Then.
No.
There has to be a-
Habibi, you have to bring us a clear question. Rabbi, my wife wants to measure what?
If she's pregnant, she wants to. There's like I don't know how it works. Like levels of testing, whatever. I don't know.
Okay, you have to see how is this testing done. Is there any writing?
I now when
Is
you-
there any
I
color?
want to eat a kibitza of bread on Shabbat. I want to now measure the.
Oh, there's another question like this. A person asked me. He said, Rabbi, he went through lo aleinu lo alechem. He cut off his stomach into 2. How do you call it? Half off, 50% off. How do you call this? Не лайпо. Папа, это отрезал там эти полностью ему. Ахлот. Cut off half of his stomach. It was very big, maybe 350 pounds. This guy was.
Gastric bypass. Gastric bypass.
2 weeks. Doctor told him you're not allowed to eat nothing, only drink. Shabbat, Bujit, no matter when. Cannot eat nothing. If you're gonna eat, everything's gonna tear inside your stomach. You're gonna be das vidanya. Only liquids. 2 weeks. He asked me, what do I do on Shabbat? I told him, you have to enjoy Shabbat. If you're gonna eat bread, you're gonna enjoy? I'm gonna chas v'shalom die. Patu. After 2 weeks, he said, I have to eat slowly. I have to eat very precise thing. I cannot overdose on things. Can I measure on Shabbat or no? Yes. Why? For sake of mitzvah.
Question.
Like kabetzah, stuff like that. Another point. Person bechor does netilat yadayim. Al netilat yadayim. When does it say bracha al netilat yadayim? Only whenever he's eating 2 ounces. What if I don't know what 2 ounces is? Sometimes people come sudash lishit. They just see the bread. They already don't want to eat. They're already full. Magu. We just got up from the table. In the winter time especially. And many times the bulachki that I have, the size of that huge breads that they have, they think, oh, tell the bulachki it's too much. I cannot eat so much. In reality, sometimes half of it, sometimes quarter of it. Now he doesn't know what is a quarter, what is a half, what is a kabetza. Can he take a manual, mechanical weight, break the bread and see, measure what is kabetza, so you can say bracha al netilat yadayim. Yes, 1 ounce kusher is al netilat yadayim megavarish. We learned it. You have to eat 2 ounces to say bracha al netilat yadayim.
2 ounces at the school.
2 ounces of bread. 2 ounces chleba. 56 grams.
56 grams.
Now, if you don't know, I eat. I eat with the bread, with the fish, with everything, the meat. I don't know if I eat 2 ounces of bread. If you don't know, don't say bracha al netilat yadayim.
I said, поел, не сказал.
If you didn't say bracha al netilat yadayim and you end up eating 2 ounces, no problem. Problem is if you say al netilat yadayim 2 ounces and you end up not eating 2 ounces. This you put yourself right now in doubt.
Руки помыл, бараха не говори, садись и кушай.
Right.
So this is
Only
not
if you
for
know
the
for sure you're going to eat 2 ounces of bread, then say bracha al netilat yadayim.
This is the majority
Some people
of-
have automat. No, delish. On 1 ounce you already say birkat hamazon. 1 ounce birkat hamazon, 2 ounces al netilat yadayim. Right. If you only eat 1 ounce. If you eat less than 2 ounces. Gavarish, show gavarish, show bracha al netilat yadayim, you don't say. This common mistake, people don't know. Women sometimes Shabbat table, dieta. Ya chleb не кушаю. You don't eat the bread. How are you going to fulfill themselves with that Shabbat? Okay, Rabbi, give me whatever is bare minimum. I don't know what bare minimum is. Some Lipyoshkis, they have a lot of droji, how do you call this thing? Yeast. A lot of yeast.
If you don't have skill,
Some breads are very condensed. How do I know what 2 ounces is? Or 1 ounce for you?
So if you don't have skill,
So I want to scale it. I want to put it on the measurement and see. Грех делают. Listen. You have to stop reading the Bechor Torah. We have to start reading our Torah. According to our... I have news for you, Yaakov. If you follow our Torah, you have to eat 1 ounce of bread. Don't tell her not to eat the rest of the things. 1 ounce. It's very, very little. Put it on the scale. It's very small. Ashibka делает. Надо ее научить. Huh? She washes her hands without beracha. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, she says. Birkat hamazon, she says, because 1 ounce she ate. Now I don't know what's 1 ounce, what 2 ounces. I don't know. Can I measure it on Shabbat or no? Bechor, can I measure it on Shabbat or no? Why? Because it's done for sake of mitzvah. Mitzvah.
Another question. So somebody I know has fatty liver disease.
Lo alenu.
Doctor said you have to go on a keto diet. No carbs at all. So even if he has 1 ounce of bread, it comes out of ketosis and it breaks him. So is he supposed to eat bread or is he exempt?
Good question. I have a friend that he has a problem with wheat. How do you call this? Gluten problem. He eats gluten. He has problems in the stomach. Mamash, very bad. What there is a solution? What does he eat? Oatmeal bread. Oatmeal bread. We asking bottom line. It is bread. There is no. There's carbs.
It breaks down.
There is no gluten, but there is carbs.
Breaks down the sugar.
So then he's exempt. If he's not healthy, he's exempt. Like this guy that was sick with not sick, but he made operation.
So how do you
2 weeks
make
was only
Seudat
drinking.
Shabbat then?
No?
How do you make Seudat?
He doesn't make Seudat Shabbat.
Why you don't make
He's exempt from it.
He has to drink 2 reviets of wine, no?
No, not gonna help me. You can do according to some opinions, Levi.
Арвинцик заходи, Леопольд заходи.
Got it?
מה יכול לעשות בזה? זה אני יוצא? הוא מביא לבוין?
According to us, it's not yotze. Friday night, you have to eat bread. Even mezonot is not yotze. You have to have bread. Only Suda Shlishit, Bedi Avad, we say mezonot to yotze. Suda Shlishit. Suda in the morning, Shabbat. Suda in the Friday night, you must eat bread. At least 1 ounce. It's a must. Men, women, everybody. Unless person sick. Person is sick, something else. For Suda Shlishit, at least 1 ounce. I remember there was in Bet Knesset, everybody sit down to eat Suda Shlishit. Group of people go outside, Kaifu, make circles around the Knesset. Oh, Shana, oh, Shana, Anna, Oshiana. So, hello, where are you going? Suda Shlishit. No, Rabbi, we good. We good. I said, Jonam, you good according to your Torah. According to our Torah, you're not good at all. Bechor. Rabbi, I don't want to eat bread. I'm on a diet. You're watching their muscles, watching here's there. High on a diet, no problem. There is arbuz on the table, watermelon. 1 ounce arbuz. This 1 piece arbuz. Pakushe. Ore preadama. Suda Shlishit you fulfilled. Bedi Avad. It's better than you circling around the Knesset and not eating Suda Shlishit. It's Avera if you don't eat Suda Shlishit. You're making Avera. You're not sick. You Baruch Hashem healthy.
Первое я хочу сказать, война закончилась.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, yeah.
И второе хочу сказать, если человек...
In English, Bechor.
О, окей. Порезал курицу кошерно, все.
I said English.
Talking to the wall, it's okay.
Shchita, make it shchita, chicken, and give him to the boy to make it, как это, штунама.
Salting, yeah?
Can do it, the boy, salting.
If you watch what he's doing, yeah. If you watch, you know halachot.
Yes.
Not you watch Banomash watch, you don't know nothing. If you know what you're doing, yeah. All the factories going to do it. Mashgiach watches what he does, and Mashgiach also works. But he watches what they do and they do it. Salting, no problem.
Okay.
Shchita is not allowed to do it. Goy cannot do shchita.
No, Rabbi.
Yeah. Now, number 4. Let's finish number 4, David.
In a rabbinic prohibition, when people relied on a sage who permitted, do they have any basis to object? Even in a rabbinic prohibition where people relied on a sage who permitted, we must object him if his colleagues overwhelmingly disagreed, rendering his words null and as if they were never spoken.
Wow. You hear? Somebody says, Rabbi, I rely on somebody that allows it. I'm sorry, halakha is not like this somebody. Halakha is like the other opinion. Should I object that person or no? Know what object is or no? We must object him. What is object, you know? In the court, Bechor, what do you say in the court? Objection! This you know. What is objection? Going against. Means to say a person should not say, Rabbi, Chai does according to some opinions. He is whom to rely on. No, John Bazan. If halakha is not like those opinions, you have to tell him, I'm sorry to tell you, you have a rabbi. Who do you follow? Rabbi Vad Yosef. Rabbi Vad Yosef says it's not allowed. You cannot go ahead and make your own rules. Как тебе интересно так, тогда интересно вот так. It doesn't work like that. You gotta make yourself a rabbi and don't keep mind with all doubts.
We said in times of need we could follow on the majority.
That's only whenever, not times of need, that's not the right word. In impressing times. What does impressing means?
Emergency.
Emergencies. Very good. Next. 65.
A single knot that was tied before Shabbat, is it permissible to add another knot to it on Shabbat?
Ana Bechor, to make double knot on Shabbat, you're not allowed to. What if I had 1 knot before Shabbat and I make the second one on Shabbat? Very practical tzitzit. Tzitzit has double knot. Sometimes 1 knot opens, but the first knot is still there. Can I add the second knot on Shabbat? Tie it fully?
Mutar.
So let's see if Bechor's Torah aligns with our Torah.
With this, single knot that was tied before Shabbat,
If
one
it's
should
not permanent.
one should be careful not to have it.
Not to add a second knot. בויק תמנתי חורת בכל. It's written.
As written in
Rabbeinu,
Tractate
it's
Shabbat
not
104,
only if it's a permanent.
regarding one who writes a single letter.
Bechor, if a person on Shabbat not allowed to write how many letters? 2 letters. Why 2 letters? One fire is asu. Why letters has to be 2? If I write 1, I didn't bring korban on this. Why has to be 2?
Minimum word is 2 words, 2 letters.
No, that's not the answer.
They
Tell us.
put the pillars, aleph, bet,
Very good.
know how to-
Kol hakavod. You see, a person went to yeshiva. Bechor. Time for you to do also. In Mishkan, they had beams. These beams, Torah says, I want you to disassemble it and reassemble it the same way. How many times did disassemble and reassemble? Do you know?
42 times.
42 times. Torah says, "Va'akemota et hamishkan kemishpato." Make sure you're going to rebuild the Mishkan, reassemble the Mishkan as the original time you did. Marcel, what do you mean? It says the beams that was in the north, you gotta keep them in the north. The beams that were in the south, you have to keep them in the south. Even tomorrow you're gonna go to this town, and from this town you're gonna go to that town, from this place you're gonna go to that place 42 times. Always you see, where is the north there? Put those beams of the north in the north. Tomorrow you're going to go over there, now the north is there, you're going to make the beams of the north facing there. You cannot switch around the sides of the beams. Why? Not to disrespect each beam. So people should not say, you see, this beam is not good. You put him in the back, this beam is better, you put him in the front. Tomorrow didn't behave good, you go into the front, in the back, and this guy went to the front. So not to hurt beams. You understand what you're talking about? It's unbelievable. So how did they do? All the beams, Avti Simon Yachid. They all look the same.
And your mark style.
Which mark? They used to put 2 letters. One they used to put, let's say, north in Hebrew is tzafon. Watch first letter, tzadik. If it's the first one, on the right side, let's say, and then the second one, and then the third one, so they have to write tzadik, aleph. The next one, tzadik, bet. The next one, tzadik, gimel. What if it's in the north, from the south? Well, how do you say south in Hebrew? Darom. How do you say the first letter darom? What is it? Dalet. So the first one is going to be dalet, aleph. The second is going to be dalet, bet. So how many letters do you need in order to indicate where they're located?
2.
2 letters. So since in Mishkan they really needed 2 letters to write, bare minimum for counts as writing. So too on Shabbat to bring korban for writing, it has to be
2 letters.
2 letters. Says Ravadia, what if a person right now had 1 letter before Shabbat written, and on Shabbat he writes only 1. Now he has 2 total, but on Shabbat he wrote only 1. Did he break Shabbat? He has to bring korban or no? Says Ravadia, yes. Why? Because right now you have korban hatat. Because now you have 2 letters written over here. So it says take that concept and plug it into the time. That if you had 1 knot before Shabbat, and then you're coming with a second knot on Shabbat, now you have 2 knots. 2 knots, it's a problem on Shabbat if you keep it for 1 day more than a week.
Even if one of them was done before
How
Shabbat.
about
If the longer.
Yeah, if it's less than a week, we said even on Shabbat you're allowed to do the double knot.
Yeah.
That's a Bechor also agrees with us. Double knot on Shabbat, 1 week,
No problem.
up to 1 week, no problem. More than a week, already
Even if
problem.
one was done
Rabotai,
before
you see
Shabbat.
how our Torah, Rabotai, is so beautiful. That's a Bechor Jod. You have to come to Shiur Torah early. Be constant in Shiur Torah because every detail in the Torah is linked to another detail in the Torah. That's the beauty of our Torah. Baruch Hashem, we get together every night. We learn together every night. And Hashem bless us that we should continue together for many years to come. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen. Amen. שנאמר אדוני חפץ למען צדקו. יגדיל תורה